Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, Hunt Stand Pro Whitetail, Fuse Accessories, Elevate Tree Stands, B3 Releases and Broadheads, and Hoyt. We're at the second camera. This might be a good time to talk about human scent. We talked about dog scent at the first one, but the waders that I wear when I'm checking cameras really only keep you from leaving scent on the grass and brush, stuff like that, because any decent boots are going to prevent scent on the bare ground.
I know we've discussed this before, maybe it was last year, but I've got a couple questions. One is, how long will human scent last in an area? It's probably dependent on like rain and stuff like that, but I mean, it's been really dry here, so if I were to wander around right now, which is why I'm sitting on the four-wheeler because I don't have waders on, but how long would that last?
Well, first you'd be okay in those boots,
okay,
because there's nothing for your pant legs to brush up against.
Right.
That's really where the waders pay off, so you'd be fine here. But to answer that question, it's really kind of the opposite of what you think. Rain will remove scent, but moist conditions hold scent. You know, not necessarily rain. So it's when it's really dry and sunny that the scent molecules evaporate a lot quicker. You know, I know they've done a lot of studies on that with like bear dogs and stuff like that, you know, out west.
Yeah. Like
how long can they pick up the scent of a bear or a mountain lion? And the scenting conditions are better when it's moist.
That makes sense though, because if you've ever worn like clothes to work out in or been outside in the rain and then you put them in your car and you forget about them, that holds scent. Like you'll smell those a lot longer than you'll smell like if they was dry.
Lay them in the sun or something. Yeah, for sure. So I would say under the best scenting conditions, probably a couple of days. Under average scenting conditions, it's more like hours and not days. And that's just from my experience of walking to tree stands and then just seeing, you know, how long the deer still react to the entry and exit trails that I use. But, you know, everybody talks about bloodhounds. Well, how come bloodhounds can follow a person a week later or whatever? They're not going by human scent. Believe it or not, they're following ground disturbance scents. So it's like a broken branch. They smell that, or someplace, you know, where the leaves got crushed. That's the stuff that they're following past a certain number of days. And deer don't really function like that. So they're not paying attention to the same stuff that bloodhounds have been taught to track based on. So it's kind of a cool topic. You know, I've done a lot of research on this, and you know, that's what I've learned is that, you know, it really does come down to the conditions, but a couple of days, absolute max in my experience.
And that would be if it was kind of damp and just not ideal. And if it was ideal, it would just be a matter of hours.
Yeah, if it's ideal for you.
Yeah.
Then it would be, you know, like let's say you walked in the morning and you stayed for an all-day hunt.
Right.
Usually by the evening, they're not reacting to that anymore.
Okay.
That entry trail, and some of it's going to be reaction too. It may not be that they can't smell it. It's just that they aren't as likely to react if it's old scent.
Right, like they're not as alarmed or see it as like this is a threat right now kind of thing.
That's right. All right, let's get the card out of this one.
Last question.
Oh, another question.
I think we talked about this before too, but this time of year, they're not as edgy or as like I don't know what the word is.
Cautious?
Yeah, that's the word. About scent as they would be in like November, right?
Yeah.
Because we've talked about.
Yeah, like you can get away with more in the summer.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that they know somehow they figured out when it's non-threatening human activity and when it's something that's out of the norm. See, what they really don't like is new stuff.
Right.
So if they're used to finding human scent in a certain area and it's never been a threatening thing for them, they don't really, you know, get too stressed out about that. But if they find it in a new area,
right,
even probably now, they would be more prone to react to it.
You used an example once last year that kind of stuck with me, and it was if someone cuts through your front yard, they're walking down the street and they cut through your front yard, you're like, I mean, that's kind of annoying, but like, whatever. But if they cut through your living room and
Yeah.
like they're sitting in your living room, you're probably going to be upset about that.
Yeah.
To illustrate how like the deer, there are some areas like the fringe areas where they aren't as cautious or picky about the amount of scent, but then when you get deeper into the like bedding areas and the places where people haven't been, they're a lot more jumpy about it.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, there's places where they expect it, where they're used to it, and we try to build all of our strategies around that. From the camera strategies, like where I've got them, like what we're doing right now. I mean, we're talking, but we've been here before. You know, this summer probably 4 or 5 times. You know, working on this food plot, talking, yelling, you know, firing up chainsaws. This isn't the end of the world for those deer, but if we went deep into where they bed and we did the same thing, they're going to pay a lot more attention to that. Not saying that they're going to abandon those areas, but they're going to be a lot more suspicious when they're there again the second time. All right, any more questions?
Not right now.